That's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation. Well, let's start from the top. If you didn't know already, I choked my first chance at getting a personal best by dying in the end, then getting trapped in a cage without a pickaxe. So, nearly an hour and a half into the run, my stuff had despawned. But this wasn't the end. I wasn't going to let this seed get the best of me, so I was going to play over and over until I could get a fast time. But this wasn't so easy. The run that you just saw was attempt number 56, so I had already spent nearly 10 hours playing this seed, and this was the fourth time I messed up in the end, including the original run. I'd forgotten to organize my inventory for the one cycle, died during the one cycle, and this time I got skycracked. But then, the very next day after this run, I not only beat the seed, but at a much quicker pace than any other run. So without further ado, I present to you attempt number 59, the third run of the very next day. Hey guys, Pudgy here, and welcome to the run where I finally beat this seed. So, I mentioned in the last video there was a temple right behind spawn, but it actually didn't have any iron, but it did have another notch apple on top of the one I get from this temple. So that's pretty funny and like very rare actually. So I get 8 sticks for tools on the way over here, so I don't waste wood, so I can use it for beds later on, and I get here around the 1 minute mark. So yeah, that's like semi-fast. Like my best was around like 58 seconds, but I got pretty good at the parkour over like ponds and like getting out of water on the way there, like just doing this so many times. So I use like a slower variation of using the TNT to blow up the chests. But then I use the TNT later to get the wood from the tree in the village, so it ends up saving me some time. So from this temple I get 4 iron and obviously the notch apple, and then a ton of blocks. I got pretty good at that double place jump there. Not that it mattered, but it was funny. So I come over here, I dig these 4 leaves out, and then I place the TNT and run away. And this usually gets me 4 or 5 logs. Either way it's fine because it's always enough for me to craft a crafting table. And then I grab 3 beds as well, so all I have to have is 12 planks, so I can craft more beds later on. And I have 16, so that's more than enough. Here I'm just crafting my tools pretty slowly. That was pretty sped up, so yeah, I'm not the best mechanical player. So around the 3 minute mark, I'm now looking for the iron golem, which is usually on top of this mountain right here. Which makes it kind of annoying to place the 3 blocks. I died way too many more times than I should have trying to kill this guy. But I forget how many iron he drops. I think it was 4, but it doesn't really matter because I have enough to craft them anyway. Craft all the stuff I need, like flint and steel and a bucket, and I mine these 2 beds. Then I throw some extra stuff that I don't need in this chest, and then I head over to the underground lava pool over here, which when I scouted it was the closest lava pool. So here, yeah, I only got 3 iron actually, so I craft a bucket, and this is where I lose a bit of time because sometimes from the explosion in the temple I do get a flint from the gravel that exploded, so that loses me like 15-ish seconds or so. Then craft the bread, I offhand it, which is what I use for the rest of the run. And then I head to not negative 225 there, and then that's where I know where to dig down. And then I'm at this lava pool here where I make my portal. So it's pretty slow, but I actually didn't mess up my portal too many times, but it's just, so I got okay at it towards the end, and it still takes a while, but by the end of this, I think I'm entering the nether around the 5 minute 30 mark, and the fastest enter I had was 5:15, and so this was more or less on pace to be like one of my faster enters if it wasn't for the flint not showing up after the explosion. But I enter here 5:30, not bad. And then towards the beginning I was mining that gold right there for a helmet, but then I realized that I didn't need it because I just instant aggro these guys and punch them to start my route anyway, so that was a big time save. I made that change around like the 20th run, so I died a lot to these pigs though. If they're in the wrong spot and there are just a ton of these sword guys, like one of them hits me there, then I'm just like dead. So I got lucky here that there weren't any towards where I entered the top, but yeah, only one hit on the way down here, so that's pretty solid. So I mined these 9 gold blocks, and so yeah, that was the housing route. I craft myself a helmet, so because I end up going back up to those chests for 2 gold blocks and armor. So yeah, so I throw them the gold here, then place the gravel on top of them in a block, and then mine these blocks because that's where I chuck anything I don't need when they're trading, sorry. And I come up here for the chest. I used to go to the other backup blocks, but there were sometimes pigs in that room and it was a little like more dangerous. So I just end up going to these chests, plus I get armor anyway, which really helps me, because the fortress got a little scary for me. That's why I just always had the notch apple in my hotbar, because I die in like so many different places throughout this run. But also one thing I wanted to mention, that like on the way to the fortress, there's like a lot of, it's just pretty much all soul sand. So the one thing that I resetted for that wasn't a death was not getting soul sand boots. Or wait, I'm tweaking, sorry, I got soul sand boots from the chest. So sometimes I just didn't grab those, and then I wouldn't have any soul speed, and then it would take me super long to get to the fortress. So I have my soul speed, and then I am leaving the bastion. I have everything I need. I only needed 10 obsidian, because I know where to build a portal, but I'm out around the 9-minute 20-second mark, which is pretty much the fastest bastion exit I think I ever had. So that was nice. Also, it was also like crazy. Like there weren't no obby in all those 4 chests, or there was a single and a double on both sides. Neither singles, neither doubles had any obsidian, which is nuts. So it was a good thing I got the obsidian. Like I also reset for the obsidian sometimes. But I get here, I use the soul sand boots, and I would use pearls. You can see I'm using the notch apple right there because I die so many times here. But I sometimes decided to use pearls, but like sometimes like if I threw 3 or like, then I'd just be on such low health and the skeleton shoots me and then the run's over, and like it really didn't have to be. So I really only used them when there was a skeleton near me. So I'm here, and then I think, yeah, that guy drops, and then I'm 2 for 4 here, and then I block this off so there aren't any wither skeletons. Got pretty lucky there weren't any around in this run. No, this guy doesn't drop, and I think I stay here a while. I mine out the blocks here, and so I only need 6 blaze rods because the portal is a 0-eye, so that's not that good. If it was a 2-eye or something, then I could have left on 5, but it was just a 0-eye, so I had to get 6 rods here, and because I knew where it was, I wasn't throwing any, so there was nothing to worry about with like the eyes breaking. So I just need 6 to get out of here, and I end up going 6 for 12 in the end, and I get spawned on here. This guy is trying to melee me, but yeah. So it's been like pretty long in this fortress. Would have been nice to have like a looting something, but obviously that's rare, so it doesn't matter. I just moved between these. Spawners, and what I should have done, one thing that would have like saved me a lot of time, was I should have gotten the TNT. I should have saved it from the temple, because I could have like blown up some space for the blazes to spawn, and that could have saved me a good bit of time. But I could have left there. I think I had like 5 rods with 3 left to kill, and they all didn't drop or something, but that would have been a nice time save if one of them dropped. But instead I just clean out my inventory. Then this guy drops, so I have 6 rods and I'm out. And then I just check the chords that I have to go to, and I know which way it is here. Then I pearl out this way and I'm on my way. So yeah, there's a skeleton here that I try to crit out with my shovel, and because I use the scroll wheel when I get nervous, it's not too pretty. So it was just, yeah, I killed him because I had the armor helped. Then I pearl over to this, then I line myself up with negative 305 on the X, and then I try to throw a pearl to 126, but I only land at 102, so that wasn't the best of pearls. I could have gone 26 blocks farther. So yeah, I just have to bridge over to where I want to build a portal. And I eat a bread, and then I throw another fire res on myself, and I build a portal. Pretty slowly, because the last thing I want to do was misplace one of the obsidian, and then have this run, which is a sub 16 stronghold enter, I think, or maybe a little past it, but still, it was definitely by far the fastest run I was on. So I was just, from this point on, I was pretty careful. I didn't want to mess up. It was less speed, and I just, as I said, I had like 10 hours into this seed, so last thing I wanted to do was mess it up again in the end. So yeah, I break the silverfish spawner, and I learned my lesson. I did not want to hit them, because that, of course, spawns more of them with the infested bricks, so made sure to kill them with the lava. Then I spend time crafting everything I need here, clearing out my inventory. So yeah, I blocked this off, forgot to do that. Then I fill in the portal here pretty slowly, but I wasn't gonna go in right there, so I still had more stuff to clear out. Yeah, I did craft my beds here. First turned the string into wool, and then I threw everything out, and I had like 8 or 9 beds here, so I was set on that. And then I was just throwing out anything I didn't need, putting the blocks in my inventory. And then it was time to head in around the 18-minute, 10-second mark, which was definitely the fastest. This was like sub 20 potential, like even with this enter. There's a lot that could have been faster throughout the run, but yeah, if it was a faster perch, then it could have been a sub 20, but it's fine. I wasn't gonna try for a better time after how much time I poured into the seed. So yeah, set up the obsidian there for the 1 cycle, and yes, that is Squid Game music in the bottom right. I was listening to it for a while. It's a pretty long song, but yeah, I was just dodging breath for a while here, made sure I sorted my inventory, put the beds on my hotbar, and I was just kind of running around. This guy just was constantly on my side of the island, like he wouldn't leave. Just like, and then finally I see him whip there, and I know he's perching. I double check which side he's going. He's going on the left, and I go over there. Then 2, 3. Then these last 2 beds are really good. That one's really good. This one's really good. And then I was like, okay, I have to block myself in here. I cannot die to an enderman again. And then he teleports in, and I was so scared. I was just punching away. And then I entered the end frame, or the portal or whatever, at 21:01, and I was so happy. There it is, guys. After a little over 10 hours, I locked in and got a decent time. I have no clue how I keep looking at the enderman, but at least it won't happen again, hopefully, after these 2 runs. Hopefully I learned my lesson, but I submitted this run to speedrun.com, and it would have landed me at 1,460th in the world, but sadly it was rejected because I used the recreate world button to regenerate the seeds, and apparently there's a way to cheat with that, so they didn't allow it. But the guy let me know that everything else looked good, so in the future I'm going to be like set seeding the runs of like top players and like world record and stuff, and see if I can like beat the time with like knowledge of the seed, which I probably can't even with all the knowledge, but I'm going to try my best, and I will definitely get a sub 20 set seed, or maybe even a sub 10 eventually, and hopefully those go into speedrun.com. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and if you want to try and beat my time, which is very doable, I left the seed in the description. Bye.